start the audio and I'll count you down. In 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Carol Swarbrick. There's a film I want to tell you about. Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother, tells the inspiring story of Lillian Carter, matriarch of the storied Carter family of Plains, Georgia, and the mother of United States President Jimmy Carter. The film centers around rare interviews with historical figures of the Carter era, including former First Lady Rosalyn Carter, the late Los Angeles Dodger legend Tommy Lasorda, longtime ABC White House correspondent Sam Donaldson, and of course, her son, Jimmy. Miss Lillian is portrayed in the film by me. In candid moments, President Carter reflects on his remarkable mother, who passed her deeply held humanitarian values on to each of her children. She lived a life of service, worked for equality and respect, ultimately impacting a nation through her influence on Jimmy. To watch the film on a streaming platform or to own your own copy of Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother, go to misslillian.com. What could be simpler? And enter the Contact Us page. And now we're back to the Jeremiah Show. Merry Christmas! A great stocking stuffer.
Love it. Love it.
Perfect. And then if you want to do the radio drop.
So this would be just, so this is an ad. Wait, hold on one second, Richard. This, Carol, this would be the ad. We're going to put this at the first commercial break, Richard, and the third commercial break. And then this would be what I call a radio drop promo, which would be, hi, this is Carol Swarbrick. Check out, Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother on, go to misslillian.com or on Amazon or whatever streaming platform you'd like to throw out there. And you're listening to the Jeremiah Show. So this is more of a short and sweet one that we can put in future radio shows.
Great.
Up until Christmas.
Okay. Hi, this is Carol Swarbrick, and for a happy holiday, check out Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. It's a wonderful film, and you can find that on Amazon Prime and Vudu and other streaming platforms, or you can own your own DVD by checking out misslillian.com. And I am so pleased to bring you back to the Jeremiah Show. Happy holidays.
That was perfect. I love that one. Really, really good. Okay, so now we got all the business out of the way. Let's just have some fun together. What do you say?
We already are having fun.
Just visit a little if we could. Okay, Richard, well,
Here we go. Video's already running. Audio. 3, 2, 1. You're live.
welcome to the Jeremiah Show. Do I have a good hour ahead for you planned? We get to spend some time with one of my really great friends from by the way of Hollywood to the Pacific Northwest, and now she's a what do you call it? The winter bird? What do they call it? The snowbird? She's down in Florida, and hopefully going to be very safe as hurricane. What is it? What is the hurricane name? This one?
Nicole. Nicole the hurricane.
Nicole. Hurricane Nicole. Well, I hope the snowbird doesn't get too wet down there. The voice, the beautiful voice that you hear there, that's helping me out a little bit. Carol Swarbrick. Carol was on the show, one of my favorite shows that we ever did, with her husband, Jim Dries, and it was just so much fun. We all had so much fun. It actually turned into a 2-hour special. They were here, first time we all met, but it felt like we knew each other forever, in my opinion. You were here. There was a big cast here, actually, almost the whole principal cast of the film that they were here to talk about. It's called Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. You can check that out, by the way, while we're talking at misslillian.com. It's a story of Jimmy Carter's mother and Lillian Carter, the Lillian Carter story. You can find it on Facebook. If you're out there on the web right now looking around, you might as well go to Facebook after you get off misslillian.com and check out the Lillian Carter story. What a great film. And like I said, we were having such a good time. It turned into a part tour. I don't know if that's English or not, but it is for our show. We had a part one and a part two, because we couldn't turn off the mics. It was just too much fun.
You made us so comfortable. You came in kind of like a favorite uncle or cousin, and we all just felt like, I think Tyler Winther, the editor of the film, he described the film the way that show felt to us, and it was a warm hug. Just a
Oh,
hug. Yeah, it was great. It
I
was
like that. I think we should write that into our motto here. The Jeremiah Show, like a warm hug. Carol, I might have to pay you some royalties on that one.
Oh, no, you paid it forward.
Well, it's funny that Richard was also, Dr. D was really had so many questions. I think he's a big fan of Jimmy Carter, or either that or Peanuts. I'm not sure which one, but but Richard is actually, if you notice, I'm in one studio right now and Richard's in another studio. I was telling Carol off air that Les Carroll, the station manager, had to separate us. We were like those two kids at the back of the school that, springtime's here and we can't pay attention to the chalkboard. We're looking out the window. So we were in trouble and we're separated right now. Anyway.
Never grow up. I'm not going to.
Oh yeah. No, who wants to grow up? That's not fun. I love the principal cast in Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. Principal cast, she had some really great people in this film. President Jimmy Carter footage, former First Lady Rosalyn Carter, Sam Donaldson, Tommy Lasorda, the great Tommy Lasorda.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course you, Carol Swarbrick. So that was one of the best radio experiences I've had. And one of the reasons I love doing radio is that you meet such interesting people on the airwaves, and then we get to share your stories with around the world. It's been a very well received, not only interview, but the movie has been well received, right, Carol?
Yes,
Pretty well.
It's it's streaming, and as long as people know about it, it does better and better. In fact, possibly before this is even aired, we are having a screening at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Well, not in the big theater.
It doesn't matter. It's the Kennedy Center. When is this? You can't get tickets, obviously. It's not a public thing. It's
it absolutely is. And the tickets are very reasonably priced, free. Because it's the reach.
That's too much. I can't afford that.
I know. And there's taxes.
Taxes on free. I figure if they can tax you for anything, they're going to figure out how to do it for free too.
And the introduction to the film is virtually by former U.S. Representative Joe Kennedy III, and it's just very, very exciting. It's in the Reach portion of the Kennedy Center, which is just for humanitarian works and things like that. So we're really excited about that. Yes.
So is it a screening that, like, if I'm sitting here in Santa Barbara, I could stream it somewhere, or do I have to be actually on location, which doesn't sound bad either?
Screening, and it's very exciting to see it on the big screen, but it's also exciting to see it on your own television from your living room. And it runs a little less than an hour, so it's very easily digestible. And it's hard from the inside to know how it affects people, but we hear such wonderful things. Just young people in tears saying, "Oh, I'm so glad you're telling this story. It's so inspiring." Truly a woman who lived a life of service, which is just not a term we hear a lot. A woman who inspired a lot of humanitarian qualities in her children, all of her children. And I think really important, she was not perfect. She was a flawed woman. She was quite a shoot from the hip, drinking good gal. She liked her cocktails, but she also, I mean, she celebrated her 70th birthday in India, serving in the Peace Corps as a nurse. Come on, you got to get. Wow, this is a multifaceted, wonderful woman. So,
I'd almost define her as just, honest and true to who she was. And don't you find that you learn so much more from the people that are like that are like, I'm flawed. Here's a dirty joke, a little, or an older joke. I swear a little bit sometimes when I get mad. I am who I am. I enjoy a nice little bit of whiskey on the porch, or that's who I am. And she was funny. And
well,
you're really funny in this role. You're great in this role.
thank you. But it's very, very true. She was true to herself. Um, she knew that. She got into trouble, like when she was traveling with one of the popes that she met. She met two popes. She was traveling with one of the popes, and she said she never felt so close to God as when she looked at his face. But she told him that she would have made a better Catholic than a Baptist because she likes to drink and gamble so much.
Yeah, I actually love that clip so much. I played that at the end of the show here. I dropped that in. I love that
Yeah.
from the stage show. Um, well, let me do a little bit of an introduction here, because I gave a personal introduction why I love you so much, but let me tell you why the rest of the world loves you.
Let's hear it.
It's good. In case you don't know, it's good. Your life is good. For the past several decades, Carol has made her living principally by performing on musical theater stages around the world, having leads on Broadway in the play 42nd Street, wow, Side by Sondheim, and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Carol has starred in television series and movie specials, TV specials. Remember Movies of the Week? She's been in a few of those. And major feature films. She's performed in concerts and on cruise ships, and has been offered opportunities to be one of the 5 soloists in a Steven Sondheim tribute with the Seattle Symphony, conducted by Marvin Hamlisch. Several years ago, Carol's agent suggested that she look into a biographical one-person show, the one we've been talking about. A lot of women were considered that she lighted upon Lillian Carter. The more Carol learned about this woman, Lillian Carter, Miss Lillian's story resonated with her. One fortuitous event after another led Carol and her husband, Jim Dries, one of my favorite guys, he's back there somewhere, to an invitation from Jimmy Carter to visit Plains, Georgia, and meet more of the family. Eagerly, of course, the invitation was accepted. Since then, there have been more than a handful of additional meetings with Rosalyn and Jimmy Carter, each clarifying and adding the stories that are told of Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. So the list goes on. I want to actually talk about all of these, so I'm not gonna read them to you here. Your incredible bio. I'm not gonna go too much further, because I want to delve into these stories one by one with you. But I want to highlight in 2019, Carol participated in Dolly Parton's 2020 Christmas movie, Christmas on the Square, and played the title role in the episode called Barbara in Three Busy Debras. In addition to performing, Carol's authored a book of her inspiring essays titled It Occurred to Me, and has co-authored the story of her romance with her husband, Jim Dries, Better Late Than Never, a love story. if you had to take, Carol, and I'm going to get to what I wanted to do here today with you, if I could, is maybe you could take all of us back through your life a little bit. And I thought, because you've had such a storied career, a multifaceted, layered, so many different areas in the entertainment business that you've explored and succeeded and excelled in, that I thought maybe we could kind of take them piece by piece, and then maybe go back into time with you a little bit here, if you wouldn't mind with us.
Sure.
Let me ask this question though: if you had to take all of the various times in your life, the opportunities on the little screen, the big silver screen, and music, from Broadway to theater to off-Broadway to cruise ships, how would you rearrange them in terms of personal happiness and life experiences? Which would go number one, number two, number three, even though they came at different points in your life? What brought you the most happiness in genre or area in entertainment?
This will sound, like packaged, but I mean it. It's right now is number one. Right now, to be able to tell the story, a script that my husband and I wrote together. We're a magical pair. And to be working on a story about such a remarkable woman, and because of that, being able to have conversations one-on-one with former President Jimmy Carter, come on, and to have this writing and life partner next to me is really to be able to inspire, to be able to tell the stories of, as you said, an honest woman who inspired her children also to be honest. Something, because we've just come off of an election season, and to look back, campaign headquarters for the man who was to become the president was the train depot in Plains, Georgia. Okay, the train depot. He told the throngs of people who would listen to him speak. He told them, if I lie to you, don't vote for me. That's a level that we should aspire to. Mm-hmm. And to bring that kind of humanity to people through the stage show, through the film, that's the most satisfying. And to have lived this long and to have performed this long, that's the number one. I would say, some of the experiences, like I would say maybe number two would be my first Broadway show was Side by Side by Sondheim. Now, I revered Mr. Sondheim's work before I auditioned for that show. And it was a review. It was a very popular review at that time. It came over from London and played on Broadway in the late 70s. And I got to be one of three singers who delved into all of this material. I got to play 15 characters through music and lyrics written by Steven Sondheim. I got to work with Mr. Sondheim and Hal Prince, gods of the theater, if you will.
That's like saying I work with Mozart in a totally different way, but say one of those names that's going to be there for lifetimes and be revered. You got
absolutely. And I won't tell a lot of stories about it. I will say though, I was in his home. He stopped me on the street one day. He was riding his bicycle, and I heard this, bring, Carol, what are you doing in my neighborhood? It's Steven Sondheim. It's like, come.
What's in his medicine cabinet?
I forgot to check it out.
That's incredible, though. That was
a missed opportunity. You're absolutely right. When I was doing summer stock and little tours of shows, a little show that I think every high school should do is No No Nanette. It's old, it's hokey, it's wonderful, and there are loads of kids in it. Well, I got to play this crazy little Flora from Frisco, and she, "Hi, Mr. Jimmy, I'm Flora from Frisco," and just, but I won an award for that. I won the Straw Hat Award for that. That's no big deal, except you know who handed that award to me? Cary Grant.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, these are Cary Grant's glasses.
Are they? How
Yeah,
did you?
they're Oliver Peoples did a Cary. They took his glasses and put them out. I loved him so much. I love Cary Grant.
Well, yeah. What a life! What a life I've been given.
What do you love most about the life you've been given, Carol? I know this is a hard question because there's a million things, I'm sure. But what do you love the most?
Oh gosh, that it got me here. It got me on the Jeremiah show. It got me to, I mean, come on, it did. There are so, as you know, there are so many talented people. There are beautiful, gifted, talented people we don't hear about.
Mhm.
And I've been so fortunate, just step by step by step, that it's just it all brought me to right here, sitting here with a black drape behind me and the dining room at the dining room table.
What's in front of you? I want to know what kind of food we have today.
Don't even ask. It's a black bean chicken casserole.
We were talking about before we started. We didn't do a pre-show interview. We didn't really kind of prepare what we were going to talk about together. And you were asking, you've got such a career. How far back do we go, and where do we take this? And I asked you if you trusted me and if we could go down. I had kind of an idea of I wanted to do with you today, and so far you're actually setting me up. You don't know this because we didn't rehearse or do anything together, but you're setting up perfectly, almost as if you've read my questions for you. So let's just keep going with this. You're setting me up perfectly. So this is a little off track, but okay, you're talking Sondheim, you're talking Broadway, you're talking different theater that you've done over your life and been successful at it and you really enjoyed and love. I've been to a few sound stages, CBS, HBO, Warner's, things like that. I don't know why. It's certain points of my life. I can't remember why, but I've been on those sound stages, or I've been on backstage at theater, in New York or in local theaters, or with musicians at big, Hollywood Bowl, Santa Barbara Bowl. There's a certain smell that these places have. So when I think about being in one of these places, there's that smell. And I know this for me, I want to describe it because it brings back, to me, it's theater. To me, it is backstage. To me, it is acting. I smell that, the ropes, the wardrobe that have been there forever,
Yes.
the paints, I don't know, what is that to you? As you've been on stage all your life,
Yeah.
you ever stop and think about that what those, could you describe it better than I do? What is that smell?
I think it's the smell of anticipation, sometimes with dread. Something. What if I get out there and go, sky high up? I can't think of, what. But it is anticipation. Is what is, and in live theater specifically, it's what is that audience? What show is that audience going to see? Because that show will only be seen by that audience. Yeah. The next night, it'll be a little different. So it's imperative for each person on that stage to be right there, alive. Now, what happens? What happens if that book falls? Well, you pick it up and you put it back. Can I tell you a little story?
Yeah, tell me anything.
Jim helped me with this. This was John, who was the guy who was in this play. It was a 4-character play. He was on anyway, fabulous actor, and I'm going up on that one. But anyway, he's in this wonderful theater in Los Angeles, and he's got a little set. He's in his kind of bum apartment. There's a bed, there's a nightstand, there's a lamp, and he's pacing right around the edge of the stage with this monologue about jazz. He was a jazz musician. Okay, he played a jazz musician, and he's talking about music in the 50s. Those were the, well, there's a woman in the front row, and she's coughing. And the music in the 50s, there's just nothing like, are you okay? He stops. Are you okay? Would you like a lozenge? I've got one right here. I've got it. It's and he goes into the drawer in the nightstand on the set in his, apartment, and he finds a lozenge. He goes over, he hands it to her. He waits. She opens it up. She puts it in her mouth. You okay? You better? Music in the 50s, jazz in the 50s. He's right back on it. No one else but those few hundred people who were in that audience saw that show. That's the magic. That's the magic of live theater, and that's the smell. That's it's now. It's there's no safety net out there.
And it's this shared experience that's once in a lifetime, like all good things are, right?
Yes. Yes,
Well,
that's
hey,
good.
I gotta take a break, Carol, but I'm trying to think if because we're in this question, I wanted to follow up. If I asked you right now, if we have enough time, is what I'm thinking. If I asked you right now to close your eyes and to picture being on a soundstage, what sensory awareness are you smelling, maybe, feeling, imagining? Is there something you may have already answered it, that anxiety, sometimes that fear? Um,
But the excitement, you know what it is? It's getting all of that stuff back from the audience. It's knowing you got them.
mm,
They heard you. They felt what you wanted them to feel. That's
magic.
Time for a break.
Powerful, isn't it? Oh, well, then the last question in this, and I'm just Dr. D. I'll be going to break in just a moment. Give me a second. We're on a good roll here, I think. What senses, or what of the five senses do you call on most as an actor?
Oh. Probably hearing. Probably in hearing, listening to the other actors, listening to the music, listening to hearing the audience.
Your cues, picking up on the vibe and everything else.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think that's a lesson for life. We explore that theme quite a bit here, just to listen more. I think you hear a lot more if you listen more, obviously. All right, so good answers. I love it. We're back together again, Carol Swarbrick and myself at the Jeremiah Show. Don't worry, Jim, I know you're there. You can find her on Facebook at carol.swarbrick-dries. I'm going to spell it for you. Swarbrick is Swarbrick. Dries is Dries. And you can also follow her, find her on Instagram at Caroler Dries. So I'm going to spell that for you, like a Christmas caroler. CAROLERDRIES. Go find her now on Instagram. Also, I wanted to again point out Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. Website is misslillian.com, and on Facebook, The Lillian Carter Story. You can purchase the film at so it's geni.us/Miss Lillian, or on misslillian.com. Again, the cast is great. Jimmy Carter, First Lady Rosalyn Carter, Sam Donaldson, Tommy Lasorda, and of course, Carol Swarbrick. We'll be right back. All right. Richard, are you there? Should we come back? You have any questions before I go? Is that okay? Okay so far?
That's great. That's great. I forgot to say Harry Belafonte.
Okay, great. So I'll bring us back whenever you're ready, my friend. This is what happens when Richard and I get, he's looking out the window right now.
What's it doing?
What's it doing out there, Dr. D? Should I just come back? Not yet. Okay.
Are you in Santa Barbara?
Yeah, we're in Santa Barbara. We finally had rain. You've been, you live down here and been down here a lot. You know, the Southern California drought and all that. And we finally had rain like for almost 2 straight days. And it just cleared. So, today was so beautiful driving here. It's like after the rain and, just clean and beautiful.
And there too, the smell of the rain.
Yeah, the smell of the rain is my favorite. Okay, let me just get I got my spot. I'm ready. You ready, Carol?
I'm ready.
I knew you were.
I trust you.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We are with good friend, spending some time. I got some hot tea. The rain clouds have cleared here in Santa Barbara. We were just talking, it's one of those beautiful days when everything's been washed clean and it's real crisp fall air. And we got Carol Swarbrick, who is joining us from Florida. Pre-hurricane, we hope you stay safe. And so far, the connection's great. The conversation is even better, I think. Carol, welcome back. I wanted to ask you a quick question here. So, Hollywood, show business, it's notoriously difficult to make a career in. So I started thinking about you and the long career you've had and all the success. And I don't even know how many. I went to IMDb and I lost count of how many things that you've been involved in just on television and film alone, not to mention the Broadway career and some of those great people that you've worked with. So I started thinking, how many people actually make it in Hollywood? Because I know it's a bad statistic. It's a bad gamble. And so I looked it up, and only 2% of actors make a living in entertainment, they say. And I was reading this, a study by Queen Mary University of London. It said, if there's any cold comfort in these findings, it's that the same 2% tend to work most of the time, and the remaining 90% hardly work at all. So the trick is to be in that 2%. So my question for you is, Carol, how did you make it into that 2%? What do you think? Where do you think you chose the right path instead of that left path that could have taken you to the 98, probably many times in your career?
I think a lot of it is luck. A lot of it is resilience. A lot of it is stubbornness. I as you were talking, I was remembering, when I was in my second season of Summer Stock, a friend of one of the cast members was a playwright and a director, and he wanted me to play a part. He wanted me to play Mae West in a reworking of the old melodrama, The Drunkard, and it was called Drat. That's just with an exclamation point. It was The Drunkard as seen through the eyes of Mae West and W.C. Field, and he wanted me to, just kind of like Miss Lillian, who was a wee little thing, and I was 5'10" at the time, but he fine.
Since then,
I have shrunk. I have shrunk to 5 foot.
You haven't grown.
A mere 5'9". We did this in Connecticut. We did the show, and it was picked up by off-Broadway producers. I moved to New York in an off-Broadway play. I was already set. This was my rocket to stardom. And we opened, and the reviews were so awful, we didn't do another show. I want to, because it's so important to this story, I want to quote a story that was in either the New York or the New Yorker. It was not John Simon. But this is the review. A dirty little show called Drat opened last night. It doesn't matter where. That was the whole, but I'll be darned.
The original troll, huh?
But I'll be darned if I'm going to be in New York City and hightail it back home. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to work any job I can until I'm making a living performing. and that's what I did. And the, you know, the first time, you know, when paying taxes, when I said all of my W-2s are from performing, this is fabulous. I get to keep doing this. And another thing, and this is anyway, it's what it is.
Oh, I was going to say, I love that story, Carol, that you looked at your taxes. That, I mean, that's, to me, that's a story. That's a milestone, right? You're like, I've made all my income this year from acting.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I had to make that happen. It took a little while.
Yeah, it did. And New York, there was a lot of work coming out of New York. You know, it would be dinner theater in Connecticut, or it would be at, you know, some regional theater in Indiana or something. But they auditioned in New York, so it wasn't cutthroat. And another thing, and I think this has to do with my upbringing, but I tended to, and I hope I still do, respect people no matter where they are, respect people and things. You know, I didn't throw my costumes on the floor. I hung them up. I thanked my dresser. I thanked the lighting guy. Well, I made friends with the guy who was running the spotlight. You'd be a fool not to. Angela Lansbury said that. You know, make friends with everybody on the set. And I think that's part of it. You know, it's like, why work with a, you know, with a mean person? Why work with, and that leads me to Christmas on the Square with Dolly Parton. She not only starred in this, of course, she produced it as well. And I learned while working on that show that if you're not kind, and if you can't do your job, you don't work again for Dolly Parton. In fact, you probably don't work for her once, because there are people around who are talented and gifted and can do their jobs and are kind. And that's the kind of person she wants to be surrounded by. And don't we all?
Yeah, it's taken me a long time. It's taken me actually pretty much until this year where I started saying, you know, I keep letting these people come back that are not kind, they're not nice, and I don't want to be around them anymore. It's such a you sometimes you suffer your whole life with people that, and then when you do that, there's just this freeing feeling of like, well, here are a lot of great people that I wasn't giving enough attention to that are great and kind, and it's so much better working with them, you know, and
Oh,
you're so much more just personally fulfilled or successful, and a path opens up when you cut out the stuff that drags you down, the people that drag you down, the negativity. I don't want to hear any of it. That's great. So one of my questions for you, and I think you may have answered it, but maybe let's recap them, because are you a big fan of kind of like paying it forward in a little bit, like passing on the lessons to generations that are, because I know when I was searching, I used to want to be in the film business many years ago, went to college, and I could never find anything on producers and screenwriters where I wanted to be. And I was starving for that information. Like, how do you get from here to there? And you've seen it all, Carol. I mean, do you believe in passing that forward and being there for people?
So much. Some what, like maybe 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, I thought I got my my feet wet and my face dirty in summer stock. We did 10 shows in 11 weeks in summer stock. Okay.
Explain what summer stock is for someone that doesn't know. I know. I'm gonna say I know, but
well, where I got my start, it was a Sacramento Music Circus. It was in a tent. It was in a tent in Sacramento in the summer. Thank you very much. And every single year I worked there, they said, next summer we're going to have this air conditioned.
like being in Bakersfield, right?
Oh, right, exactly. And Baker is the, you know, the optimum or the operative in that. I also want to just a little tangent here to stick in, but you know, you start working with the people who are good, and you're nice and you're kind, and you wake up one morning and go, I've had 500 episodes of this show. You know, it happens that way, I think. Anyway, about 30 years ago, I thought there's not, oh, summer stock. Okay, summer stock is where you just live in a place you don't know, and you are in the ensemble, or you're working backstage, and you do all of these shows in the summertime, and you get your leads. Often they come in for 2 weeks. They come in for the 1 week of rehearsal, and they come in for the 1 week of performance, and then they leave, and you've got a whole new batch to deal with and a whole new style. So you're doing West Side Story 1 week, and the next week you're doing The Wizard of Oz, and you get all this exposure to different people, how they operate, how they work, if they're winners, if they're losers, if there's I don't want to be that. So you get all of this, and it's like what's my motivation? Your motivation is, we're going to open on Monday. Okay, it's Friday, learn your lines. There's no wait, I have to get into character. No, see, we've got a show tonight, and it's great training, but there aren't a lot of summer stock theaters anymore. So it occurred to me that I could start teaching. I could teach some auditions and behavior in musical theater. And I did that. And, back to your 2% thing, I would tell the kids, if you can do anything else for a living and be happy, do that. You can be doing community theater and be fulfilled. If that's what you can, believe me, there is no structure to this performing thing. There's no seniority. You don't climb up a ladder because, you're talented.
Mm-hmm.
The rung on the ladder can break.
Yeah.
And you can fall. And teaching them something about respect. Respect. You never know where those people are going to go. You may be the lead in a show, and somebody in the chorus becomes a casting director. Happened, 10 years later, and I remember you.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. It's like that senior class in high school. You're gonna see these people again. It's a small, be nice, be kind to everybody. Love all that advice, Carol. We're with the great Carol Swarbrick this hour, and I can't believe it. I'm looking at the clock. We've already been talking 56 minutes. This is incredible. I'm going to tell you right now, find her on Facebook at Carol.Swarbrick Dries, Dries, and on Instagram, follow her, find her, Carol Dries, a caroler, Dries. Remember, like a Christmas caroler, Caroler, Dries. And check out her film, Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother, on misslillian.com. We'll be right back. I went long on that, Carol. I wasn't stopping you because I just wanted the.
Oh dear, I bet I
was so good. So Richard's probably mad at us. We're probably in trouble.
You run long on these things. That just means that you got some good stuff there.
Yeah. We do. So what do we got left, Richard? Because I haven't even got to my question. My I told her to trust me, and we haven't even got there yet. I know we don't have a lot of time. Okay, so do we have one segment, two segment, one segment, and a goodbye?
We have one segment.
Goodbye.
50 seconds.
Segment and a goodbye segment.
Okay, so let me. Okay. Yeah, we can make this long. It might not all fit onto a radio, but for the podcast, we can. Richard will cut it down to radio. We'll have to lose something, but I hate to do that, but I'd rather get more in time with you.
That's showbiz.
I know. I'm terrible at it. Yes, I'm ready. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Carol Swarbrick is our special guest today. She's the star of Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. Check it out on misslillian.com. Go there. You can find out where to find the film. It's streaming everywhere. So it's really great. And I'm so happy to have you back, Carol. Welcome back. Yes, of course. We were talking before the break just about some lessons that you've learned that you could pass on to the listeners out there that are actors right now. Young actors are trying to make it. They're wondering, how do I make it? What's my next path? What should I be doing? Could you sum all that up maybe in 3 to 5 bullet points on Carol's rules for making it? Carol Swarbrick. in it. I think that would be good information.
Oh, golly. Be honest with yourself. Be honest about yourself. If you're not 15 anymore, don't try to play 15. If you need to, ask friends, what's your essence? How do you look? Be honest with the people with whom you do business. In so many ways. I don't have to list them. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself.
What does that
mean? It means stay healthy. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get distracted. Your body is your equipment. Okay? That's what you have to work with. That's your toolbox. Your other toolbox is emotional, and watch people in real life. How do they express themselves? And notice what you are uncomfortable about in people, and see that you don't do that.
That's good advice. And I wanted to touch back on that your emotions, and watching people and seeing how they react to situations. This is an emotional, well, life is emotional, and things come at you from all sides, and from the top and from the bottom and from behind. You don't know what's going to happen from one second to the next. And emotions, I've growing up as a young man, I've had experiences where I've probably blown it. I've had a temper, or I've said forget it, or I've cried, or I've hid under my bed or whatever when I should have faced the problem. But that's really good advice. And is that what you mean in some ways, that try to control those emotions, and be a good person, or how you react, and
be kind. I don't know about controlling your emotions. The anger is so often misdirected. And so, try to just take a deep breath and say, what am I afraid of? I'm angry. I'm probably afraid of something. What might that be? And, we have life to learn from. We're going to make mistakes. So pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Identify your emotions, and read and consume and know what's going on as much as you can. Open the world to yourself. Get to know other cultures, other people outside of your family of origin. It's amazing what people can do without. It's amazing. And be happy. When Jim and I were climbing to base camp Mount Everest, we had a Sherpa guide who, probably made, I don't know, 50 cents an hour for whatever he did. He owned an inn with his wife, and he was happy. He was happy. And did he have a washing machine? No. Did he have an iron to press his clothes? No, he didn't. Did he have Roku? No, he didn't have Roku. He didn't have hot water unless he heated it up on the stove. But he was happy. What can we gain joy from that doesn't require a lot of money or status?
Oh, wow. Carol.
I'm going to have to listen to this.
Carol, will you hang out with me?
I would love to.
I just love to talk to you. Okay, so because I don't have much time, I've got to get through some of this other great accomplishments that you've had. We might not have time to talk about all of them, but what you've shared today of yourself and your advice, wow, I mean, I really think it's been such a good show. I've learned a lot from it and had a lot of good advice. So let me go through this in Broadway and theater. June 2002, uh, Carol plays Christine Donovan in Follies, a musical by Steven Sondheim and James Goldman at the Wadsworth Theater in Los Angeles, California. In May 2005, she plays Cinderella's stepmother in Into the Woods, a musical by Steven Sondheim and James Lapine, if I've got that last name, Civic Light Opera of South Bay City's Redondo Beach. October 18th, 71. Fred Bluth and Stephen Metcalf's musical
Oh,
at the
class.
McAlpin Rooftop Theater, New York City, with Walter Bobby, Jane Connell, Bonnie Franklin, Gary Sage, Donna Sands, and James Red Wilcher in the cast on November 3rd to December 12th, 93. She acted in Burt Kalmar, Harry Ruby, George S. Kaufman, and Morris Reiskines. Is that right? Reiskines? Musical Animal Crackers at the Paper
Yes.
Playhouse in Millburn, New Jersey. I've been to Millburn. I like the little town. Okay, I want to play something right here real quick, and I just want you to tell me what comes to mind. I love that song. It is my childhood. Could you tell me what that makes you think of?
I can think of tap dancing. Tell me what you think of. I'm bouncing it back.
Columbo. Wow, what a I mean, I got to stay up late to watch Columbo. Peter Falk, I just love that show.
And he produced as well as performed in the episode that I got to do. So that was Columbo. It wasn't a show. He was just great to work with. Absolutely great to work for and with. They have
Good guy. I mean, he seems like you'd have a lot of fun with him. He seems like a prankster or something. A little
he was. You know, he had one glass eye.
Yeah.
And so he, being the producer, he was on the set, and I was standing close to him, and I thought he was, and I told him this, but I thought he was looking at me, and he saw the look in my face when he focused on me. He said, "I'm looking at the lights," and I said, "Oh, I thought you were scoping me out." And he said, "No, not right now."
You got a sparkle in that eye, huh?
Yes.
Hey, films. You've been Incredible Hulk, Hunter, Whole Truth. Great films, and that's just a few of them. I originally pitched you. I wanted to talk Christmas with you because you feel like, I hope Jim doesn't kill me on Monday, but you feel like Christmas to me, Carol. You're like bright and shiny and happy and warm, and it's just so you've done some fun Christmas movies, and I thought that would be fun to talk since we're getting close to Christmas. But and then music. Let's move on to that. Singing backup for Harry Belafonte in the early 70s.
Yeah, that was incredible. I toured with Harry Belafonte. We were the Howard Robbins chorale, not Harold Robbins, Howard. And there were 4 women, 2 of them African American, and the other woman besides myself was like dark hair and olive skin and short. And there I am, 5'10", electric blonde hair, and extremely white. I rather stood out. And then there were 5 guys behind us. But watching Harry work was another lesson, a great lesson, because he was so calm and so cool and he built his show. You had to be on your feet at the end of that show. You had to give him a standing ovation. And that curtain would close and he'd turn around. We have to refocus that light right there. 3rd trumpet, remember, on that, he was hearing it all. He was hearing it all and logging it all. And then he'd laugh. Somebody forgot the lyrics of Try to Remember. And he said, he just
try to remember, huh?
Yeah.
I forgot. Well, oh God, see, we just started to get into that side, and so you'll come back, yes?
Oh yes, and I apologize for not recognizing the theme song for Columbo. That's bad. My
bad.
bad.
I was playing it from my laptop. We actually drop it into the show, and it's much better. You probably couldn't hear it because I'm not. Richard's probably going, "Oh my God, you're killing the sound." I'm not doing a sound engineer justice. I'm playing from my laptop. Okay, so I did want to do the holiday show with you, but we're not going to do that. But what recipe? We have, if you probably know, all these top chefs, like actually from Top Chef, and all these celebrity chefs on over the years, and they all talk about their grandmother made something, and they all go back to my grandmother. That I learned cooking, or I remember from my grandmother. Is there anything, Carol, that you remember from your grandmother, or that you now cook for your children, and for Jim? It's something that you make that nobody else does during the holidays. Is there a dish?
Oh, you know what? There is. And but it's not a cooking. It's a beet salad.
Mm.
And it's so great because it's red and green, you
Oh.
know. It's like julienne beets and vinegar and sugar, and it's yeah.
I love
Uh,
I love that earthy taste of beets. I know some people love them or hate them, but I love them.
no,
I'd love
no.
to try that someday. Maybe we'll have to get your recipe. Okay, so we do have to wrap it up. We have to say goodbye for now. Let's do this though. Just for the different genres that you've been in, could you tell me your proudest, the one that you like the most? Like if we were sending people to go watch some of your stuff in film, what do you, I know this is hard and it's a silly question, but I'd like to know what was your favorite film that you did?
Well, okay. Of course, it's Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. But next to that I'd have to say, probably The Jeffersons.
Was that a movie or a television show? That's a television show, right?
On an episode of The Jeffersons.
I loved The Jeffersons too. That was great. Moving on.
Yeah, I was Harry's house guest, and I was a British girl, and it was lots of fun. It was great fun.
I have to go look for that episode. All right, music. It must have been something with Harry Belafonte, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh no, music would be Sweeney Todd. I got to play Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd, and that was so satisfying, so challenging, and it was just great.
Oh, Richard wants me to take one more break, and then we're going to come by and finish this and say goodbye. So let me take that break. The great Carol Swarbrick. We'll be right back. We're playing that commercial that you recorded right now in the show. So I think I should probably have this up in about an hour, so I can get it out to you to share. Hopefully.
Fantastic.
So this is just, yeah, we're just going to kind of say goodbye here. We'll wrap it up. Thanks, Richard, thanks for staying late. Welcome back. God, pinch yourself. You've had a great hour with Carol Swarbrick. It really happened.
Yeah, it's been great. It's just been great.
I have so much to ask you and so much to talk to you about. But I have one final question. Hold on, Richard. Sorry, pause me. I have to find the question. I had it earlier, and I'm like, I got to ask that last. Well, maybe I got it already. Incredible Christmas. What do you do? All right. I guess you can. I had a good one. Where did it go? Sorry, Carol.
Okay. Favorite show.
Okay. Well, let's just wrap it up. I will. You can start me up again, Dr. D.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, Carol Swarbrick. Carol, thank you so much for spending the hour with us. We hope you have happy holidays. And I want to plug your husband is coming up on Monday, Jim Dries, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about the adventures that you two have had, and his new novel. You got to tune in for this one. It's going to be a good one. But he's had led a really incredible life. I couldn't believe when I read his bio, and then along with you, that you guys are just a really great pair together. I'm so happy that, and that's the way it should be. Two great people in life found each other, and you got lots of great stories to share, lots of great books. Carol, tell us one more time what we should be watching this holiday season.
Everything else. It's holiday season. Watch Miss Lillian, More Than a President's Mother. And you can stream that and get it, find out about it at misslillian.com. But I want to say to you, this is the best pre-Christmas gift I may have ever received. Just being reunited with you, you're a wonder. And I appreciate you very much.
Oh, Carol, I appreciate you as well. Thank you. That is very kind of you. Thank you. Okay, everybody, we're going to say goodbye for now, not forever, to the great Carol Swarbrick. And again, check out misslillian.com and check out our newest film. Communicate, listen more, be kind, and evolve. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Cool.